what you want, 'cause a pirate lives free. You are a pirate.
Yeah, I probably need to explain myself. I've decided to cover the last 3 episodes of this season in one video simply because I think they're fine, but I don't have much to say about them. So if I would cover them separately, the video would probably have around 3 minutes, and that would be a waste of time. So instead I've decided to do a roundup on them to make things faster. So without further ado, let's the reviewing start. One of the main issues people have with this episode is the whole dispute, that Rarity, Applejack and Pinkie Pie are friends for such a long time that it shouldn't happen. But in my opinion, that argument is actually the reason why this conflict is believable. In my opinion, if friends know themselves for quite a while, they think they know what's in their friend's mind, so they know how to surprise them. But when all fails, they blame the other side instead of the fact that they didn't even try to get a subtle hint on what could make them happy. And that results in disputes like this, especially when both sides are trying to get the same result. Heck, I've experienced similar cases of lacking communication. So the conflict wasn't an issue here. However, watching the same story with a few differences in every case might be boring for some people. But here lies my issue. How Applejack views Pinkie Pie. They know each other for such a long time, and they might be related, not to mention the chemistry in Heartbreakers, and yet AJ seeing Pinkie as out of place and mind pony? Unless it's because of negative emotions, I'm not okay with this. Neither with viewing Rarity as a pony who puts darling in every 2 words. I probably should also complain about Pirate Jack, but that one was actually hilarious. The whole bunny thing is also something that makes me raise my eyebrow. How come a cucumber sandwich, a strictly land-made food, is a favorite food of a strictly water creature? That thing is way too convenient. But besides that, I've enjoyed this episode. It wasn't the funniest one of this season, but still fun. For me, the best part was the flashback of how they've all returned to shore. It was so anticlimactic, I've been laughing pretty hard. The story itself was overused, but like I said, disputes like this will always be happening, so why not repeat this more a few times if needed. And thus, I am far from calling this episode one of the worst of this season, as people tend to name it.
You see, Granny's
sick!
Wait, Granny's sick? I had no idea.
Yeah, no pony did.
How long was it since we've got a good episode where Applejack was a main character? If I would stretch it, I would say Viva Las Pegasus, but even then, that spotlight was stolen by Fluttershy. With this episode, however, I wasn't decided whether I like it or not after first view, and I'm still not sure personally, but I still think the episode itself was pretty fine. And it's not because of the message, but rather it's because of that insight on Applejack character. For once she's actually believable. I mean, come on, we're not born the way we are today. It's the life experience that shapes our adult self. People change after they grew up, and their character might be completely different. For that, I appreciate this episode. For making AJ's honesty believable instead of she was always like that and other suspension of disbelief nonsense. Which also make me wish for similar episodes for the rest of the main 6. A little insight of why Rarity is a generous pony, or why Rainbow Dash value loyalty so much. Which is also a reason for a nitpick I have because of that episode. I'm not buying the statement that they were always that way. So maybe let's talk about the issue with this episode. While Applejack is more believable, Big Mac is actually the opposite of her. There's a difference between talking less and reducing yourself to 2 words, especially after Appleback season. More talkative Big Mac is always welcome, but his reasoning for becoming a pony of a few words? I'm not okay with this. It's okay to listen more, but it's not fine if you listen and barely even talk. Not to mention that he wants to be responsible for the whole farm, while he can't be responsible for his younger sister's actions. If he wants to be reasonable, well, maybe do something more than talking. However, as a whole, this episode was fine, mainly because of AJ herself. Not just for the whole explanation why she's the most honest of ponies, but for her intentions. She wasn't lying for her own benefits. She was afraid that the farm will suffer because of her rash actions. So what that she kept lying and lying? She was just a child. For me, that's something I would expect for a child. However, there's also another problem with this episode. What happened to Applejack parents in this episode? Where are they? No comment. Let the shipping begin. As much as I like this episode the most of these three, I probably have the least to say about it, while it's also straight up good episode. First thing, Sky Stinger and Vapor Trail. This shipping is so real that you can only like it, even though their relationship is pretty much built on a lie. This is actually a nice contrast to previous episode, showing how much even the humble reasons can turn against you if built on a lie. This time the lie was running for quite some time, so when the truth was revealed it hurt it even more, because of the fact that Sky felt so special and so great, not even realizing that all he accomplished so far was thanks to Vapor's help. On one hand, he's right to be mad, but on the other, with his ego being bigger than Rainbow Dash ego, he needed the reality check. Vapor also needed that too, to actually be less of a pushover and more confident for herself. The dynamic between Rainbow Dash and Twilight is equally best part of this episode. Two characters who are pretty much the complete oppositions of each other, and yet they have such great dynamic when they are working together. And I like the fact that they had discussion on their ways to solve this problem, but it didn't turn into them butting heads with each other. Instead, they've both kept working together. In the end, both methods were correct, but at the same time were wrong. It was just a matter of applying them in the right way. For me, the dynamic between those two in this episode is much better than between Rarity and Applejack. Pretty much it's one of the best character dynamic in the show. If I have to be honest, this is probably my second favorite map episode of all. Probably the only real complaining I can have is the fact that this is yet another schematic map episode. Besides that, I like pretty much everything here. The comedy, the characters, both new and old, they were all great. However, this episode is also lacking that something for which I could say more about it, or call it one of the best episodes. But hey, it introduces not one, but two new cute characters. Both are memorable, both are adorable. And so I've reached the end of the season. However, I can't say I'm done. I still need to redo the reviews of first 3 episodes so I can actually call them reviews. And then I thought I might do my personal top and bottom 5 of this season. If everything goes right, I'll be done with them around January. Until that, I'm Sharpwit, thanks for watching.